Hey you guys, you're the Bria of Serenity and I'm back at you with another video. This is kind of just like a testimony as to why obedience is really important to the point where it could cost you your life if you do not obey. I was living at the last place I was at. I got woken up around like 4 o'clock in the morning and I heard danger, 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 get out of the house now, get out of the house now. And it was a very subtle voice. It was not like a demonic voice. It was not fear. It was not you know, it wasn't something that would make you panic and be like, oh my God, what's happening? Let me go grab my gun. It was just really subtle and just urging me to get out. Like it was telling me, you need to get out of here. I was like, what's going on? And so I'm looking around the house. I'm like, did somebody break into the house? Is somebody in my house? Like, what is going on? I start looking around. I grab my piece, you know, of course, because I'm just like, I ain't gonna just, you know, this ain't no scary movie. I'm not about to be one of those people that's dumb, you know, and just walk around with no peace. Like when I grab my piece, I'm looking around, ain't nobody break into the house. And I'm like, Lord, what is going on? I start praying and I'm like, I couldn't even go back to sleep after that. I just stayed up because they're about to call the police because I was just like, should I call the police? Because I just feel weird. I was just telling me that I was not going to be safe there anymore. Even before that had happened, I had been constantly having feelings that I was being watched. You know, I was being watched or somebody was waiting on the opportunity to cause me bodily harm. And that's such a strange feeling to have when you have absolutely no reason to believe that, you know. But I was constantly having feelings like that, and not to the point where I was paranoid or had anxiety, but it was like just an intuitive feeling, like something was telling me I'm not safe here and somebody was plotting on me. I also was praying against like astral projection and things like that because I was undergoing a lot of witchcraft attacks. So the feeling of me being watched could have been, you know, witches and monitoring spirits illegally trying to have access to me in the spirit and things like that. So I did, you know, consider that, but I do believe that it was something else that was trying to manifest as well, like something actually in the physical, somebody actually coming to my home and doing something that could harm me or my children. And I actually was supposed to move in August, but I had delayed it because I didn't know where I was moving to. I thought I was going to hop another state. I thought I was moving somewhere or I was going to go somewhere else. And those doors just didn't open no matter what I tried to do. And so I was going to fight to stay where I was. I said, no what? I'm not going to leave here until the door opens for me to be in another place on my own. And the Lord froze up my money. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like he froze up my money to the point where I had money to pay for everything that I needed to pay for, but he would not allow me to access it because he knew that if I accessed it, I would have paid up my rent and I would have paid up my bills and I would have been there longer than what I was supposed to be there for. I was like, okay, this is the Lord trying to tell me to move around. And I gave away all of our stuff because even before then, the Lord had been preparing me to move. He had been telling me to downsize, get rid of all my stuff. If I haven't used it in the last, you know, 6 months, to give it away. My house was empty. And I had all these air mattresses and we were sleeping on air mattresses up until the point it was time for us to move. And every time I would get an air mattress, a hole would get into the air mattress. My kids' air mattress, my air mattress, and these were always different brands. And I would always invest in a higher end blow up bed because I'm like, okay, we're gonna be here for a couple weeks. We're just gonna be sleeping on these for a couple weeks. So at least let me get a good one. The air mattresses would still break. They would still break. Even the ones with my kids on them, they would break. And I kind of just was like, what is going on? Be in the middle of the night. So I'm like, either the enemy is attacking me in my sleep and he's trying to make it so that I cannot get a good night's rest. Or the Lord is just not allowing me to be comfortable here because he knows I need to go. I was kind of just like, okay, Lord, where do you want me to be? Like, what do you want me to do? And the Lord was like, I need you to surrender. And so I was getting really frustrated and I was just really overwhelmed because I'm like, Lord, where do you want me to go? What do you want me to do? You're not opening the door for me to be anywhere else. I need you to open the door for me to be somewhere because I'm packing up, but I don't know where I'm going. Door opened up for me to be in a place I did not want to be. The Lord was like, I just need you to surrender. I need you to surrender and do what I'm telling you to do because you cannot stay here. It's not safe for you here. I need you to leave. So I ended up moving, and the moment I left, I felt like this big burden lifted up off of my shoulders. Now, even back in December of last year, the Lord told me that I was gonna have to get up and go, and the Lord was showing me destruction in various places in the state that I'm in. Like it wasn't even just my specific area or my specific home, it was the entire state. The Lord was like, you need to be prepared to get up and go regardless of what's going on, and follow your gut, follow your instincts when you know it's time for you to leave a place. So you need to get up out of here. And whenever I say go, you need to go. I don't know what would have happened if I had stayed any longer, or what the enemy was plotting, or what he was attempting to do, or what opportunity he was exactly waiting for, but I was not going to find out. Right? I could have put my life and my children's life in harm's way by not listening to the Lord and not being obedient. And this also ties into all the dreams that I've had about the flooding and the storms and the destruction that is coming. Okay, this is just an example of what that can look like. Okay, I did not have to wait for things to happen for me to understand that it was time for me to go. I did not have to wait for somebody to break into my home or for an intruder to come for me to be like, okay, yeah, I can't live here anymore. I got out of there before anything bad could possibly happen to me or my children. It's the same thing with all this flooding and the destruction that's coming. I uploaded a prophetic word about getting to higher ground, okay? The need to get to higher ground physically and spiritually, and how the Lord is calling us to be intuitive. He's calling us to listen to him when he's telling us to do something, and praying when he tells us to go somewhere. Every move that you make, everywhere that you go, you need to take it back to God. You need to be praying like, God, do you want me here right now? Is it a good time for me to travel here right now? Do you want me to go on this trip? And really be seeking the Lord, and not just praying about it and then going and expecting him to cover you, but praying and saying, okay, if you do not want me to go on this trip, block it. If you do not want me here, let me know. If you do not want me to go over there, make it so that I cannot go, because these are the times that we're living in right now, and not being obedient to God can cost you your life. There was a woman that was on TikTok who heard the Lord tell her to get out of Florida before they had even announced Hurricane Milton. And she had bought tickets for her and her entire family, and none of her family utilized those plane tickets that she bought for them, and they stayed where they were at. And then by the time they wanted to leave, it was too late. They had not used the tickets, and the highways were backed up, and so they were stuck where they were. And so she was grieved for them, but at the same time, she knew that they had the opportunity to go. I need you guys to understand that even though we serve a good God, we serve a gracious God, we have to take accountability and understand that the Lord is going to give us the opportunity to go, but he's not going to make us go. Okay, he's going to give us the opportunity to go, but he's not going to make us go. By your own will, you want to stay somewhere, he's not going to force you to get up and move. But do understand, being disobedient to the Lord can put you in some serious dangers, to the point where you will lose your life. To the point where something could happen to you or your family, or you could be in a situation that you don't want to be in. The times that we're living in right now. And if you feel something in your spirit telling you to go, you need to go. Lord did tell me that there was going to be a time where it was not going to be safe in my area. And I think he was talking about the state of Illinois. Okay, the state of Illinois. He would show me dreams of me packing up a car with me and my children and some other people, and we was driving away from the destruction, from the calamity, from all the things that were happening in this state. Even though he did not tell me when these things would occur, he did tell me that it would get to a point where things were going to be dangerous. So during this time, if the Lord is telling you to leave somewhere, if he's telling you to go, if you have a feeling in your spirit you're not supposed to be somewhere, you need to listen to that. You need to heed that, and not wait for the Lord to explain to you why you're feeling that way. You just need to bust a move. You need to get up out of here. I do not need to be here. I'm not going to wait till things get bad to realize, oh, I can't stay here. I'm going to leave when I first get that feeling. The Lord has been speaking to you about evacuating. If the Lord has been speaking to you about getting out of an area, there was just a young man in California telling people to evacuate, and a lot of people left, you know, and some people were like, well, I have no place to go. You need to be praying to the Lord about strategy, and he will open the door for you to be wherever he wants you to be. During this time, when I was trying to move and figure out where I was going to go, there was a couple places that I had in mind that I was thinking about moving to, but I told the Lord, I will not go unless you make a way for me to go. I was looking in other states. You know, I was looking like, okay, let me go to this state, or let me go over here, let me go over there. And there was a couple places where I was just sure, like, okay, this is where the Lord want me to go. And the Lord blocked it so that I could not go. I specifically remember I had it in my mind. I said, okay, this is my plan. I'm going to leave on this day. This is where I'm going. I'm going to stay there. I have this job interview lined up. I'm going to do all of this stuff. And literally like the week before or 2 weeks before, the Lord made it so that I could not go. I literally physically could not go. And literally, I think like a month later, the place that I was going to flooded. It flooded like to the, like really, really bad, like full out destruction. If I had moved out there, I would have put my family in immense danger and harm's way, and we would have been stuck in whatever storm hit that place. Also, another place I was thinking about going, I'm not gonna go over there. I'm gonna save up my money. We're gonna fly out there. This is where we're gonna go. But the Lord had called people to leave that area. So I said, okay, I can't be over there either. The Lord blocked it. Then I'm talking about seeking the Lord about where you are to go. There was also a trip that I was supposed to take, and I had prayed and asked the Lord if he wanted me to go there, and the Lord said no. I don't want you going right. I don't want you going there right now. I don't want you traveling over there right now. I just need you to focus on what I have you doing right now. I don't need you traveling over there. He blocked it so that I could not be able to go. This is what I'm saying about seeking the Lord about where you can and cannot go. Even in the word of God, Paul allowed the Lord to lead him where he was going. Like, he wanted to go to Rome, but the Lord did not permit him to go to Rome until a certain time. So I want to go back to Rome, but the Lord has me here. He has me doing these other things. So you need to be seeking the Lord about where he wants you to go. Another crazy thing was that I had a family member who was supposed to be in Florida right now. They were supposed to go all the way from Cali to Florida. Okay, they was going to go straight there, and they was going to try to find them a place and settle down there. And the Lord deterred them away from Florida. He made it so that they didn't go straight there. He made it so that they had to make a pit stop in Illinois for a couple of months, and they could not go. While they were here, the storm Milton came. He made it so that they wouldn't have been in that storm. And even though this person is not really strong in their faith, the Lord still looked out for them and said, I'm not going to put you down there. It would have been heavy for me and everybody else involved for that person to be down there during this hurricane. Like, we would have been crying. I would have had no peace. I would have been losing sleep. It would have been all bad. So I was just grateful to God that he made it so that that person could not go. The Lord is really ushering people to be obedient in this season. If the Lord is telling you to move to a certain place, if he's telling you to go back to a certain place, you need to heed that warning and you need to go, because we are living in such uncertain times. You guys don't know what's going on. A lot of the times we can feel things in the spirit, but we don't exactly know what's manifesting until it has already manifested to the point where we don't really have much time to make decisions. We need to be mindful that the Lord is trying to look out for us in this time, and we need to be praying and interceding for the people who are in Florida who could not evacuate or who could not get out of their flood zones. Okay, I really just believe the whole state of Florida is going to be underwater at some point. I even think Hurricane Milton is the last storm to come. And I remember when I was in my prayer time, the Lord had told me that things in Florida were going to take a turn for the worst. Okay, things in Florida were going to take a turn for the worst, and it is now taking a turn for the worse. And I don't think Hurricane Milton is going to be the last storm. The Lord is urging you to get out of a place. If the Lord is telling you to evacuate, if the Lord is telling you to move, I do know that he sent one of his prophets to California and urging people to evacuate California, to get out of there. If you feel in your spirit that you need to go, it's time for you to go. Remember, I uploaded a prophetic word where I was saying that the Lord is calling a lot of people to go back home. Now, if you feel in your spirit that the Lord is tugging you to go back home, you need to go back home. Even if it's not where you want to be, even if you're like, I don't want to go back there, you need to go. Even if it's for a temporary time, you need to go. The Lord is really calling some people back home. He's calling people to evacuate. He's calling people to leave the places that they're in. And he's calling people to just be vigilant and be aware of their surroundings and where they're traveling to in this time, because you just never know. You do not want to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm praying for all of my people in Florida. I have been making calls and checking on people and just praying throughout the day. I have been thinking about Florida, Mexico, and all four corners of the US, actually, because I know God's judgment is on all four corners. So the East Coast, the South, Florida, as well as California. Like, there's going to be a lot of natural disasters that hit these places, and it's just grieving my heart seeing these things play out in real time. And it's kind of like, you know, we prophesy these things, but actually seeing it happen is a whole other thing. And so we just need to keep these people lifted up in prayer, and just be interceding for these people, interceding for the storm, interceding that the storm does not hit as bad as it could hit, because Lord's people, some people are still there and they could not evacuate. So we need to keep them covered in prayer. The Lord is calling a lot of his watchmen to be on their post. So you know you are a watchman. If the Lord is waking you up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he's calling you to read and intercede and pray for people, you need to get up and pray. Be praying and listening for the Lord. Whatever he tells you, whatever he's saying to you, you need to listen, and you need to be praying about that thing that he releases to you at that time. Write it down. Okay, let the people know, hey, the Lord told me this, I'm releasing it to you. Be in heavy prayer for the people he's telling you to be in prayer for, even if you don't understand why. You don't have to be asking about details, but you just need to be watching in the spirit during those watchman hours. Whatever time he is calling you to intercede, whatever time he's calling you to report to him. I do know that he's calling a lot of people to report to him early in the morning, and some of us in the middle of the night between the hours of 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. and then others of us from 5 a.m. To 7 a.m. or something like that, but early in the morning to report to him and intercede for his people and be a watchman. Interceding for these people, y'all, because I just feel so much grief in my spirit for the United States of America right now, because we're about to be hit with so many things. It's making our heads spin. Like, just a lot. It's going to be a lot of things happening at one time, and we really need to be obedient and keeping our eyes on the Lord, being obedient in this time to what we're supposed to be doing, and staying true to our mission. Whatever your mission is, you really need to know what you need to be doing right now in this time. Some of you are just being called to rest. The Lord is just telling you to rest in him. Rest in him, because there's nothing for you to do other than pray, worship, and just rest in his presence, rest in his grace. And we are praying for the people in Florida, the people in Mexico, the people who are in Louisiana, the people who are in the surrounding areas that could also be hit by this hurricane if it is to be redirected. And for the people in California, we're praying for the people in New York, because the destruction has not come to California and New York yet, but it is to come. And so I'm praying for them as well. Again, you guys, be obedient, because not being obedient could cost you your life and put you or your family in harm's way. The Lord Lord is not going to make you do anything. He is only going to give you the opportunity to do it. You need to bust a move before it is too late. Do not be disobedient. Do not be foolish. Do not be wicked. My name is Abria Serenity. If you haven't already, click that like and subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any more uploads from me. I love you all with the love of the Lord. I'll see you guys next time.